Hey, it's Edna White. I want to talk to you about something today. Today I was reading, through some trending things that were going on with people. And lo and behold, here we are again with Lamar Whitehead, I guess he's been dubbed the famous designer suits and jewels pastor. And he was literally, I believe, if not recently, he's from Brooklyn, and he was recently robbed of his jewelry and all of that stuff. And I think it was last summer. So now he's back in the paper, back in the limelight in the New York Times, actually, um, as extorting someone that I believe, used to be a parishioner in his church. Um, and it's not just one, it's actually a lot or more than two federal financial fraud charges. And I think it's appalling, because we see people in the paper, and it's very upsetting. And even on the news, it's very upsetting each time we read about yet another prominent figure losing their integrity through lying, stealing, committing fraud, or infidelity. And it's really sad. And it's always like, why are you so bright and so smart and so intelligent and so well versed and so religious that you display even the propriety of lying and a bad, moral compass? Morality is really something that in ethics is really should be internal, but a lot of times we externally use it and acknowledge it for the common good of the society and make it look good. Integrity is an internal state of being that guides us towards making wise moral choices and intellectual ethical decisions. If what we wear, what we do, cultivates anything that's against those morals, or just puts people at unease about what your um, intent was, it's a question to ask yourself, like, really, like, what am I really doing this for? Why am I really living this way? And like, for Lamar Whitehead, he's flamboyant. He's in Brooklyn. I love me some Brooklyn. But to solicit money from people, retired parishioners, even threats or false promises. Like, if you buy this, I don't know, piece of cloth and you get this miracle, that's seemingly an intent that it may not happen for them. And faith is so very personal for you to use some item to manipulate or create a false pretense for some people. It's really doesn't mean you have great integrity. It doesn't mean that. And you can deny it and deny it and deny it. And my pastor always told me, if it's coming up, whether it's whether it's a truth or a lie, it's coming up. So some part of it is true. So if you're saying it's a lie, some part of it has some truth. If you're saying it's true, all parts of it have the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? So it comes from somewhere. It has to come from somewhere. So I'm saying to everybody, on the strength of Lamar Whitehead, a flamboyant Brooklyn pastor, um, check your integrity. Don't be extorting people. Don't be lying. Because liars are the most difficult people to get over, because they defraud you, and it's like they've taken part of you from them and you feel victimized. Liars can ruin a life with just one lie. And see, that's why it's so important to say or to know that gossiping is borderline. No, gossiping is lying because you don't know what really happened because you weren't there. You were just hurting. You might hurt a second party, or as you say, a very good. I forgot the word. It was a very good source. It could be lying. You're not writing a story or getting. Even if you get a reliable source, right? You gotta make sure that it's true. And when you spread gossip, you're just picking it up from somebody and taking it to someone else. Um, Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's unconscious. But all of that is lying. It comes from a place of making fantasy. And making fantasy means making up things. Making up things mean fear. It comes from fear. All of that comes from fear of not being liked, fear of wanting to have everybody like you, wanting to have friends, wanting to have people think that you're good or want them to think that you're great. So you're making up things or you're creating things. But back to Lamar. If he is making people or soliciting people for money and from people who, are retired or senior citizens, if he's threatening them, or it may look like a threat, like, oh, if you don't do this, God's going to punish you, and or if you buy this, God's going to give you a blessing. Well, God's not really giving you that item. So you mean I'm going to give you a blessing? And it all has to do with your faith. It really has everything has to do with your faith. And when it comes down to money, money is so tricky. And I was telling this to my friend the other day. Money is very tricky. If you mix that with emotions, it's like Hennessy and people. And when you mix those two together with a little bit too much, it's always a problem. So I tread lightly on your intent, and because you don't want the one thing you're going to lose when you lie or you manipulate or you defraud or you victimize is that you lose integrity with people. And even if you don't have all that you need, or you don't have to do all those things, because like I said, money is different. Money is just you see the green, but money could be an exchange or a barter for something. Someone giving you something out of their own volition, not out of you asking. You know, um, Opportunities just coming your way. Money shows up in many forms, just not in the green form. So, as we're sitting here right now, I'm wondering how he's feeling. Yes, Lamar Whitehead, how are you really feeling? Like, it's great to have the Gucci suits on, the labels all over, but how are you really feeling about what people are saying about you? And are you concerned about your integrity out of all of this? Are you really concerned about your integrity? And I think that's more important than being flamboyant. And it's a little scary because these parishioners said that he swindled these things out of their retirement money. Whew. The Bible has a whole lot to say about widows and all of them and seniors. They don't have to pay anything because they bid their time already. If they want to give it to you, they give it to you. But to be swindled, it's a whole different story. Got to be careful. Got to be really careful because your intent really motivates you to what you need. Not what you need, what you're going to do with a lot of what you do. I made myself laugh on that one. But got to be careful about all that stuff. All right. Make sure that you are not lying. Keep lying. I wouldn't even say to a minimum. Just don't lie. And don't lie by omission, which means don't say anything. And it's when I started practicing that, it was really hard. But I try to be as honest as I possibly can with a spin of, all things in a positive light. Yeah. Stop lying. Don't lie.